I'm Ethan Blake, and someone said, you always assume the worst. The response, you always deliver it. Let's review that brutal volley of disappointment.
Society perspective. How do we do this as a society to actually eradicate anti-Semitism? And I think that is the larger question rather than isolated on the FBI.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Senator Kennedy.
Thank you all for being here. Ms. Solomon, I want to be sure I understand your testimony. Did I understand you to testify that anti-Semitism is worse under the Trump administration?
Senator, thank you for your question.
You don't have to thank me. Okay. Your best thanks is to answer.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you that anti-Semitism has been rising, especially since the 2017
but has the Trump
Charlottesville
administration
attack.
caused that? Is that your testimony?
I wouldn't say the Trump administration has caused anti-Semitism. Has there been an increase since Trump has entered office? Yes.
Do you see a causal connection there?
Yes.
Why?
Trump has highlighted and platformed neo-Nazis and white supremacists.
Okay. Mr. I can't see that far.
Racklin.
Mr. Racklin, I understood you to say that the in answer to Senator Durbin's question, the spending reductions, reducing the federal budget would increase anti-Semitism. Isn't that what you said?
No, I did not. I said that the constant threats to cut money to the Office for Civil Rights and the Department of Education prevents the federal government from adequately investigating anti-Semitism and other hate crimes on college campuses.
So you think one way to stop anti-Semitism is to give people more money? Is that
I
right?
think one of the ways is to actually fund people that are actually designed to investigate anti-Semitism on college campuses.
What's there to investigate? We see it.
We see
We
it,
saw
but
it.
just
Did you watch television? Did you see what happened at Columbia?
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it was clear to me that the administration at Columbia and most members of the faculty believe passionately in diversity, equity, inclusion, and the right to hurt Jews. That's what I saw. Isn't that what you saw?
I saw
Isn't that what you saw?
protesters against the war in Gaza and them using some anti-Semitic slogans and thoughts. I would say, however, that it's hard. I would say,
isn't that
however,
what you're telling me?
that it's
That's not what you
difficult
saw.
For
Now, don't get off the subject on me now. You're telling me that's not what you saw.
I'm telling you that it is difficult for the federal government to adequately address the issue of anti-Semitism.
Are you telling me
without appropriate
the
resources.
Columbia administration and the faculty was supportive of the Jewish community?
I think that they are
You
trying
need to
find
stop dipping into your ketamine stash.
into what? Excuse me?
Now, if we're going to solve this problem, we need to talk about it.
I'm
And
happy
it
to
wasn't
talk
just
about
at Columbia. It was at Berkeley. It was at UCLA. It was at Barnard. And Columbia has a history of discriminating against Jewish people. They used to refuse to let Jewish students come to their university. Now, you can try to bubble wrap this, but that's what I saw. If you want to stop a lot of the anti-Semitism, maybe we need to stop teaching kids to be anti-Semitic.
Sir, I would relish that opportunity.
Let me ask you a question, Ms. Kohab. Did I say that right?
Kohav.
Do you think it's possible to feel compassion for the Palestinian people without hating Jews?
Absolutely.
Would you elaborate on that? Because it looks to me like many of our Ivy League universities, they weren't the only ones. Some universities handled it well. Vanderbilt, University of Chicago, Tulane. But it looks like the administration was teaching kids you've got to pick a side. You either have to hate Jews or you have to be for Hamas. You can't be. There's no middle ground. Tell me what you think. What you saw. You've written a book about it. Maybe Mr. Rocklin ought to read it.
Just because we are testifying, I wrote a chapter in the anthology Young Zionist Voices about what's happening on college campuses, and my book is coming soon, so look out for that.
Good plug, but
So let me answer your question.
can you feel compassion for the Palestinian people and not hate Jews?
Absolutely. I think that what I've seen on college campuses is a pushing of a Marxist framing of the way that you see the world. And this is not only in liberal studies departments. I've taken dance classes, I've taken creative writing classes, where your final project is literally called the political is personal. And what they're teaching you on college campuses is that the political is personal and that everything should be personalized. And there's a global north, a global south, a global right, and a global wrong. And the issue with college campuses and what's happening right now in the United States is that we're allowing ideology to drive violence. A society that says that you can commit violent acts based on your ideology because your ideology is correct is a society that's eroding. And that's what I see on college campuses. Now, you asked if I could feel Palestinian peoplehood, right? If I could feel compassion for the Palestinian people. Absolutely. And every night when I go to bed, yes, I pray for the Jewish people, but I also pray for the Palestinian people, for God to send them leaders that actually care more about their safety. Leaders that put their people's safety in order to propel an ideology at risk aren't leaders. If you look at Hamas, they tout what happened after October 7th up until this day as a victory. How can you lie in rubble after thousands of your people have died and call that a victory? So what I see that has to happen on college campuses is de-radicalization. Until you admit that there's a radical ideology happening on a college campus, you cannot fight it. You cannot fight it.
Senator Arano, hey, I know there's a lot of strong feelings in here. We all have them. But each member only has 5 minutes, and it just takes time away from their 5 minutes if you really want to get all these facts out. Ms. Arano.
You want to know what real leadership looks like? Watch Senator John Kennedy light up that hearing room like a 4th of July firework. And this time, the target wasn't just vague hate speech or disinformation. It was the tired, deceitful liberal tactic of blaming Donald Trump for literally everything, including the rise in anti-Semitism. Let me break this down for you because what just unfolded wasn't just a heated exchange. It was an absolute demolition of woke hypocrisy. Right from the start, Kennedy gets straight to it, no sugarcoating. He confronts witness M.M. Solomon, who tried to make the absurd claim with a straight face that anti-Semitism has gotten worse because of Trump's presidency. Really? That's your testimony? And Kennedy, in that legendary Southern drawl, doesn't let him slither away. Has the Trump administration caused that? Yes or no? You could see Solomon sweating. The man couldn't decide whether to defend his words or run away from them. He ends up mumbling some nonsense about Trump platforming white supremacists, classic MSNBC-style garbage. But Kennedy wasn't buying it, and neither should the American people. This is the part where my jaw dropped. Another witness, Mr. Racklin, claimed that cutting federal spending, yes, budget cuts, somehow fuels anti-Semitism. Let that sink in. According to this woke nonsense, if we dare to audit bloated bureaucracies or slow the gravy train for radical college departments, it's anti-Semitism. What a scam. Kennedy pounced. So one way to stop anti-Semitism is to give people more money? Boom. He said it, and they couldn't answer because it's all a deflection. These folks don't want real solutions. They want more power, more federal control, and a blank check to keep pushing far-left ideology on America's kids. And speaking of kids, this hearing was really about what's happening on college campuses. Kennedy laid it bare. It was clear to me the administration at Columbia and most of the faculty believed in diversity, equity, and inclusion, and the right to hurt Jews. That line right there, that should be playing on every news show in the country, because it's true. These elite institutions, obsessed with DEI quotas and radical grievance politics, have enabled open anti-Semitism on their campuses. They've indoctrinated students with identity Marxism and moral relativism. Then they act shocked when it explodes into chants for Hamas and the demonization of Jews. And just when you think it couldn't get any more brutal, Kennedy delivers a blow so sharp it cut through the courtroom like a blade. You need to stop dipping into your ketamine stash. Mick dropped. But the highlight, the real moment of clarity, came when Kennedy turned to a brilliant young witness, Miss Jo Gove, a Zionist author and student. She wasn't there to play games. She wasn't there to peddle leftist excuses. She laid it out plainly. College campuses are pushing Marxist framing. They're teaching students to justify violence through ideology. And if we don't admit there's radicalization, we can't fight it. That's truth, folks. That's courage. and Kennedy gave her the floor, respected her, and let her message be heard. That's the America we should all want. Open dialogue, truth over ideology, moral clarity over moral confusion. Now, let's not miss the bigger picture here. This wasn't just a fight over anti-Semitism. This was a fight over who gets to shape the minds of the next generation. The left wants to convince us that if we don't fund every DEI officer, if we don't bow to every woke campus mob, we're somehow complicit in hate. Wrong. The real danger is letting radicalized institutions turn truth upside down, where terrorists are freedom fighters and Israel is the villain, where anti-Semitism is excused because it comes dressed up in justice for Gaza slogans, where diversity means silencing Jews and conservatives alike. And Kennedy called it out every step of the way. He exposed the moral rot in our universities, the cowardice of their leadership, and the failure of the federal government to protect Jewish students. He defended Trump from baseless smears, exposed the idiocy of the idea that less government spending while more hate, and reminded America that we're not going to solve hatred by handing more power to the very people who've let it fester. Final thought, this hearing was a battle line, and Senator Kennedy fought like a lion. It's time Republicans across the country take notes, because we don't need more mealy-mouthed appeasers. We need truth-tellers, warriors, and fighters like Kennedy who call out the lies and fight for America's soul, no matter how loud the woke mob screams. Let's keep the pressure on. Let's keep exposing, confronting, and fighting back. The future of this country depends on it. Trump 2024, Kennedy 2024. Let's go.